Hello, this is Vince again. I'm going to begin this episode with the NTSB report from December of 1990. And in no way am I using this report to rub it in anybody's face or anybody's nose. There were statements made and errors made that I'm going to cover within that report. Myself and others have also discussed the Swiss cheese model, where sometimes those holes line up pretty quickly, but sometimes they line up over time, deliberately and unchecked. Now, the four names that I'm going to primarily cover for the Southwest flow are Mr. Joseph Figliolo, Miss Marcia Bolliard, Miss Nancy Court, and Mr. Kevin Grammas. The first two are going to be discussed in this episode, and as the episodes unfold after this, the other two names will become clear with their involvement. So with that said, let us begin. Like I said earlier, we're going to start with the NTSB report from December of 1990 and begin with the area supervisor, who was Marcia Bolliard, during this incident. During her initial interview, she stated to the board that she was standing by the cab coordinator position, observing the overall operation. And then later on, she testified she was sitting at the desk doing paperwork when she first noticed that something was amiss. So there shouldn't be two different statements. They should be the same, right? One would think. Then she goes on, when the ground control alerted everybody that there was something wrong, she screamed, "Stop all traffic." And then she reiterated, "I said stop everything," in a loud voice, right? Then later in the interview, she was asked, when you said to stop all aircraft, did you want aircraft that were on takeoff roll to abort? And she reiterated, it meant stop everything. When I say stop all traffic, everything gets stopped. Right? She was making a very definitive statement. I'm in charge. This is what I told you to do. When she was asked why the local controller had not complied with her statement, she replied that the local controller was the only person who knew where the traffic was. That can't possibly be an accurate statement because he is not responsible for the aircraft on the ground. And then goes on to state that he, the local controller, was the only one who could make the decision. Throw it right back on him. She's making statements above that saying, I'm in charge, stop. I mean everything stop. When I say that, that's what I mean. Everything gets stopped. And then in this part of the testimony, she said, but he was the only one who could make that decision. Then the testimony goes on where she testified that she checked the observation within minutes prior to the accident, which she was talking about is the local controller's visibility from the tower perspective. The local controller said he actually made his observation sometime prior to 13/22. I'm not exactly sure when the accident happened, but it was prior to the accident. She concurred with his quarter-mile call, and in hearing testimony was quite specific concerning the visibility marker she used for verification. However, she also stated that she did not use the visibility reference chart. In addition, she did not know the visibility that the National Weather Service was reporting prior to and at the time of the accident. The next page, they start discussing the job responsibilities. And they state, while in compliance with FAA policy and her job responsibilities, her decision to disinvolve herself from the actual control of traffic at this time can be questioned. They continue. All the controllers, including the supervisor, stated that the visibility conditions they experienced on December 3rd were the lowest in which they had ever controlled traffic. The Safety Board believes that these circumstances should have prompted the supervisor to provide more direct monitoring of the tower cab operations in the period prior to the accident. The supervisor did become involved immediately after the ground controller announced that there was an issue. The board believes that her quick response to stop all traffic was appropriate. However, if she had been monitoring the situation as it developed, she might have detected the positional uncertainty of the DC-9 and acted more promptly to stop the taxi operation, or at least have told the local controller to warn the Boeing 727 of a possible collision threat. In addition, more direct attention might have prompted the supervisor to question the accuracy of the prevailing visibility reading. Just to recap that document, she gave two different conflicting statements. She stated, "Stop all traffic." I said, "Stop everything." I meant everything. And then proceeded to state that the local controller was the only one who could make the decision. She did not use the visibility chart, did not know what the National Weather Service was reporting as visibility. She disinvolved herself from the operation, and the board stated that everything that was taking place should have prompted the supervisor to provide more direct monitoring of the operation. And here's the next document that I said I was going to talk about. It's a memorandum from the air traffic manager, Joseph Figliolo, to his workers. And I think I have here's a larger one so you can read a little bit better. Anyhow, I don't necessarily disagree with what he wrote in here, but these statements are going to become very important probably within about 16 to 18 months after he put this out. And I'm going to use these statements extensively from 2007 to the present of 2025 in reference to the Yankee offset localizer. And he makes the statements of controllers who willfully continue in their bad habits, continue disregard for rules, regulations, and established protocols could no longer be treated as poor performance. Then he continues, if you are a supervisor and are not actively engaged in correcting poor performance and bad habits, you are negligent in your duties and responsibilities. If you are an operations manager and are looking the other way, or do not effectively manage their resources, then you too are negligent in your duties and responsibilities. He continues, however, to those of you who choose to continuously take arbitrary shortcuts and use your own methods versus those prescribed in the 7110.65, that's what governs how controllers do their job safely, or those mandated by SOPs, LOAs, and directives, the organization cannot afford to tolerate your behavior. I believe you're going to find these statements that he wrote here very telling within the next 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 episodes, and how they apply and how he applies them, when he applies them, and who he applies them to. I'm going to close this segment with this paragraph displayed from 2020, something that the tower controllers have been experiencing since 2007. Now, over the next few episodes, you're going to see verbiage such as not consistently compliant, at a minimum disingenuous, knowingly, with full knowledge, willfully, and you never want to see those things written about an air traffic facility. Then you're probably going to start wondering, where's the accountability? Where's the culpability? Where's the consequences? Where are the ramifications? All these things are going to be covered, and you're going to be surprised. You are really going to be surprised. Talk to you soon.